But I want you to see this. This was made by an American in the United States and used to attack Russia.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Stanislav, fill in.
How's it going?
What's going on, guys? We are here at, where are we?
Kievskaya
Vokzal, and we're waiting on Joe Rose and Sveta. So they should be here momentarily. And we'll be on our way to a secret location that we will reveal soon enough.
Yeah, it's true. And as I mentioned in my intro of the video, yes, we are in Kievsky Vokzal. As you may have noticed, not in Kiev, in Moscow, and no, we're not going to Kiev. But in our country, we are not renaming our historically important places renaming them to names of people who served the Third Reich in one way or another. Here we're keeping the original names, and actually this place has been restored. I believe it was renovated renovated about 2 years ago, and now it looks absolutely beautiful and stunning. So Joe and I found each other, and now we're waiting for Sveta and Joseph to arrive, and we're going to surprise them with some videos as well.
Yeah, so going to be an interesting day, couple of days, and you're along for the ride. So let me turn this camera around, and you guys can see Kievskaya Vokzal and all its glory. It's a beautiful place, beautiful morning, great day for a trip. Here with the expat American.
I'm here.
This is going to be an interesting trip.
I'm quite tired.
You look at that tired face.
Is it too early to go to the bar? Because we're on the train, we're not on a plane. See, in airports, it's not faux pas to drink at 6 in the morning. You're not an alcoholic. But on a train, it's a little bit different.
What do you want to talk about?
So Eddie, you are ex-law enforcement, so maybe you have a different perspective on where we're headed. I know that this first area that we're going to has been under fireworks, let's say.
The thing
We're
is, you're going into an area.
Trip?
You're going into an area where there's potential for some sort of violence. A lot of this is coming back, and it's kind of exciting. Not going to lie. Let's reduce or let's manage expectations.
I suppose anything's possible because Kursk did happen.
Yeah, true, but we're going to manage expectations based upon what my compatriot here just said.
The U.S. military
right.
cadet that's his moniker for this video.
He's absolutely right, because we're probably going to see something rather benign. But the thing is that I don't know. I haven't been briefed on anything. I don't know where I'm walking into, but I want to be ready. So in other words, just be ready for anything and nothing will happen. You're not prepared, something's going to happen.
Спасибо.
So we have arrived in the city of Bryansk, our first of several locations here in this area. We just arrived at the train station here in Bryansk. So what we have here has been confirmed as an ATACMS missile. This is the motor part of the missile. Western-made missile fell here in the Russian Federation area near Bryansk. And, you know, as an American, I'm conflicted because although I am a patriotic American and love my country, I do not love what my country does to other countries. But I want you to see this. This was made by an American in the United States and used to attack Russia. And I am appalled. This is your tax dollars, America. Yours and mine. Our tax dollars right here. What we have here has been confirmed as an ATACMS missile. This is the motor part. So as I edit this video, new information has emerged that indicates that this particular missile was manufactured in 2003 under contract by Lockheed Martin for the Republic of South Korea. It was then subsequently shipped to South Korea. There are no records of this missile having been shipped out of South Korea. In fact, there are no records of any such weapons being transferred by third-party countries to Ukraine. Yet here we have physical evidence that this missile, manufactured in the United States, shipped to South Korea, was used to target the Russian Federation. You've got to ask yourself, how does that happen and why?
Now, when things got more intense because of the SMO and your proximity to the border, did you guys consider moving away?
No, I didn't consider moving away in as much as like I have, you know, a dacha to go to when we're in the city. I have an apartment in the city. It hasn't been that intense in terms of risk to your personal safety in terms of being in the city, because for the most part the guys do a pretty good job of knocking down the drones, and it was very rare that some came through actually, and they were attacking quite intensely during the January, I guess, or January-February period. There was quite intense attacks, but not many got through, and if they did, they were just usually diverted off course.
So I find myself in an area where we are just miles from an area where there is a lot of kinetic activity due to our proximity to 404. And I find myself at a Stalovia, which is like a restaurant, and we just had an amazing meal.
Is this going to be tasty?
Depends on what we're eating. With some very hard men who are doing a very hard job to protect this country and to protect ourselves.
Sveta and Stas, tell us what's up. We just had lunch with military guys who did not want to be filmed, and now we're going somewhere else, and I noticed they were gearing up and getting their weapons ready. So I'm curious,
Well,
are things more dangerous? What did they talk about? Like, what can we share?
it's not that things are necessarily more dangerous, but it's better to be prepared than to not be prepared. So the guys obviously suited up. They're probably locked and loaded. I don't think those are empty magazines that they have in their weapons. So they're there to ensure the safety of everyone in this van, including themselves and the other trucks, because we're heading a little bit closer towards the border to be able to talk to some people who have been victims of this unnecessary violence from the other side. So at the restaurant, obviously, we had some lunch, and we spoke to the different people that are going to be escorting us. We made some very nice and emotional toasts, which is always good, and it's always needed, and it's part of the Russian culture. And right now we're heading somewhere where our viewers will see what we're going to film. And that's all I'm going to say at this particular moment. Sveta can take over.
This is my female perspective. I just couldn't stop from crying. I was trying not to cry because seriously, I know I have 3 sons, and I want them to live in a peaceful time. And I'm so grateful for these men who are now protecting my country, and they are, they're doing whatever they can do for the peace to come, that we can live in a peaceful time for many, many years from now. So, and it was hard for me just not to cry, and just, I didn't have enough words to say thank you to them and be grateful.
Just to add my comments to everyone, it was a very humbling experience, because I have always felt that the armed forces of Russia are doing such an amazing job to not only protect my particular loved ones in this country, but to protect me, a foreigner who has been welcomed into this beautiful country, who is here at this pivotal moment in world history. And it was an extremely humbling experience, a particularly proud moment for me. Believe it or not as an American, but as a human being, to know that people will selflessly put themselves between me and harm. Someone who has spent 30 some odd years in law enforcement doing basically the same thing, and here I am, a guest in a foreign country, and having some of their best do the same for me. Everybody here is a brother. Everybody here is a sister. Everybody here is appreciated. Everyone here is valuable. And even though we are involved in this event, in this terrible, traumatic experience, we are opposite sides of the same coin. Where they are involved in the kinetic war, we are involved in the information war, and we definitely are fellow soldiers, fellow compatriots, fellow patriots for this beautiful country. And I'm touched, I'm moved, and extremely grateful. Thank you. That one hurt.
That was
Probably.
I got lucky.
Joke.
I turned just in time.
We are in the Bryansk area where a projectile shot from outside the Russian Federation landed on this vehicle in front of this rural house. So let's go see some more.
Анатолий, расскажите, что тут случилось? Я вот заметил, что у вас стоит Audi и в ней огромная дырка.
Год назад прилетело, у нас обстреляли кассетами нас. Вот в машину попало, на перекрестке здесь 8 штук. Вот. Там 15 взрывов было. 16 полностью прилетело с Украины. 16 этих выстрелов ракет. В каждой ракете, этой, она 3-метровая, 30 этих кассет. Вот таких вот какая. Вот,
Давайте посмотрим, покажите, пожалуйста, мне. А тут на перекрестке что-то было, что-то стояло, или блокпост какой-то был, или просто ваша машина?
Ничего не было, просто это поселок.
Мгм.
Он раньше поселок Веселый был, а в данный момент его присоединили к Суземке, и улица Веселая стала. И нас обстреляли вот этими кассетами. Вот здесь упало в машину. Ни одного стекла, дом разбило полностью. У соседей крышу побило.
Мгм.
Женщина у меня ранила.
А она, с ней все нормально?
Ну, руку осколочная у нее.
Осколочная, да?
2,5 месяца на больничном она была. Вот на этом перекрестке 8 штук. Полностью вот по лесу, там штук, наверное, 15 упало. Перелетело за огородом, там полностью. В начале вот там вот за постом и до конца нашей улицы. Вот это 3 футбольных поля, и все это кассеты.
So basically, the owner of that particular vehicle, what he mentioned is that at one point, about 8 cassette bombs did open up and fall on that particular crossroads. He mentioned that there were no military objectives there. They fell. One of them actually hit the vehicle, his Audi, that is completely and shattered. He mentioned that his neighbor, she got shrapnel in her arm, and she managed to survive. Now his house is peppered with shrapnel. If you can take a look, you'll see holes along the siding of the house. He also did mention that all the windows did have to be replaced because they were shattered, replaced and painted over. If you take again closer look, you'll see the shrapnel holes. So this is what happened here. Not much else besides the obvious fact, and he did mention it, that they, on a daily basis, they hear drones, especially ones that sound like lawnmowers, fly above, and you never know exactly where they're going to land, because in the last moment they can change their trajectory and fall down in a particular place, or perhaps something can go wrong. Either way, this area has no military significance whatsoever, and from what it looks like, from what we're seeing, this particular man's vehicle was hit, his house was hit, his neighbor was injured, and it was all with cassette bombs, which I believe are actually illegal under some conventions, and they were, I'm not sure if that's correct, maybe you can correct me in the comments, but about maybe a year ago, a year and a half ago, they were debating on whether or not they want to give cassette bombs to the blue yellows. They ended up doing it, and this is what happens. This is the result of a military conflict that we didn't start, but unfortunately, we're the ones, again, like we always do in history, have to end, and hopefully it ends soon so that people like him and other people can actually go about their daily lives.
What time did this attack happen? Did he say?
I didn't ask, I have no idea.
Do they think this was an accident then?
А вы можете сказать, это случилось днем, утром, ночью, вот именно как днем?
Это 13-го, это год назад, 13 числа.
So a year ago on the 13th, during the day is when it happened apparently.
Was it an accident? Because you said there was no...
But in general, it happens every day, and the last one was yesterday. Exactly correct. So,
But if there's no military reason for it, why?
well, any person that has any bit of curiosity can take a look and see what the Blue Yellows have been doing to the eastern side of what used to be their territory. what they've been doing there for the past, I guess, 8 years, and how they've been terrorizing people, terrorizing beaches, terrorizing different cities and villages. There's no purpose except for ensuring that the local population remains terrified. That's basically it. That's all they do, and that's all they've been doing. And unfortunately, the world has been blind to it because nobody cares enough to take a look and listen to what's actually happening. But there are some people that are actually interested. There are some people that are putting out the actual news, the real truth, not anyone's version of the truth, but what actually has been happening and what continues to happen, and the real reason. See, the thing is, there's lots of different newspapers that are constantly saying that Russia has done this without any kind of provocation. Just one day, Russians woke up and said, you know what, screw it, we're going to go attack the blue yellows because we feel like it. That is not the truth. There's actually a whole history, years and years in the making, behind this particular conflict. And this wouldn't have happened if the West didn't listen in 2021 in December, and in 2022 in January, and then further on when we were supposed to end this conflict in 2022 at the end of March. But then some people from the UK came by and said, no, continue. And we're here 3 years later, and lots of people unnecessarily dead, and lots of civilians unnecessarily terrorized.
Елена.
С нами еще одна жительница этой улицы, Елена. Она, к сожалению, сказала, что ее снимать не надо, но можно снять ее дом. И она как раз тоже расскажет свою историю, потому что в ее дом тоже прилетел снаряд. Правильно?
Не один снаряд. У нас вот получается 3 тут, за дорогой 1. Поворачивается сюда, в сарай попало, в гараж попало нам. Видите, шифер новый?
Да. Елена, где вы были в это время?
В это время с внуками мы сидели под столом, под окном.
Вы были в доме, когда все
Внук бежал, внука забирали внучки и домой под пол. Они до сих пор боятся ко мне ездить.
So we are here in the Bryansk area, and this is an oddity that I have never seen, probably you've never seen in the United States either, and that is a fortified gas station. That's right, folks, a fortified gas station in the Bryansk area.
So they just informed us we are 10 to 15 kilometers from the Ukrainian border right now.
That's close.
Yeah. I wonder which way it is.
Look at the sun and look the other way.
Yeah. Look toward the sun.
Towards west, that's right, sun's in the west, yeah.
So it's behind us.
Yeah.
That'll be my business.
Це таун, де ви мітинг.
Sevsk.
Севск.
Ну, я не знаю, кто виноват, кто прав, нас прибегают. Мы не можем выехать свободно, мы не можем дышать свободно. Нам тяжело, понимаете? Нам связи нет. Я вот...
Ну, вот это Севск, где мы сейчас, это я живу где-то, ну, километров 30. Это в сторону.
We have stopped here on the side of the road to stop at this memorial to those who have lost their lives during the Great Patriotic War. There were many locals who lost their lives and are memorialized here at this very, very spot. Wanted to share this with you so that you can see that many, many people paid a very dear price for life in this area.